a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
A blue starry sky glittered on the ceiling, but it wasn't a solid field of blue. Rather, the sky was painted in a strange swirling pattern. I realised it was shaped like a woman. She lay curled on her side, her body, arms and legs, dark blue and dotted with stars. Below, the library floor was done in a similar manner. The green and brown earth shaped into a man's body, dotted with forests and hills and cities. A river snaked across his chest. The library had no books, not even bookshelves. Instead, the walls were honeycombed with round cubby holes, each one holding a sort of plastic cylinder. At each of the 4 compass points, a ceramic statue stood on a pedestal. The statues were half human-sized, wearing kilts and sandals, with glossy black wedge-shaped haircuts and black eyeliner around their eyes. Carter says the eyeliner stuff is called coal, as if it matters. At any rate, one statue held a stylus and a scroll, another held a box, another held a short hook staff. The last was empty-handed.
Welcome to Of the Oldest Gods, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as our godly parent.
I'm Raye, following the path of Geb.
And I'm Charlie, following the path of Bast.
And I'm Christina, following Charlie down the path of Bast.
Yep.
And Christina stalks me.
Like a cat.
Exactly.
It's true. It's very true. I knew you were going to choose the cat god. I'm not going to lie. I was just like...
I do only know like 3 Egyptian gods, and I was like, well, I'm definitely not Osiris, so what, am I going to pick Ra? That's really narcissistic. Wait, so Raye, who's Geb?
He's an earth guy.
Oh,
I was going to say,
cool.
he's in the chapter, he's mentioned. He's the god of the earth.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You mean Tafiti? On the floor of the library?
Basically.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good shit. How are you doing, my dude? How's the Kann Chronicles going for you?
For me?
I think you only just read this chapter and then you read a summary or something.
I read the first 2 chapters so that I could remember anything about this book series, and it did come back to me very quickly, actually. I was like, because
Cool.
I read these maybe like 10, 15, whenever they came out, probably. No, I don't know. Let's say 12 and a half years ago. And so I have them inside of me, and I remembered that it was Sadie and her brother, because I don't like to remember men, and their dad, and Egypt, and that's all I remembered.
Wonderful.
So I read the first 2 chapters, very helpful context. And then I read a summary, which I did send Charlie a screenshot of it because there was an ad taking up like 80% of the page on my phone that was like, take the quiz, are you gay? But it didn't say quiz. It looked like a medical test. It was like, take this test.
What?
Are you gay? And I was like, just because I'm on this page about Egyptian fantasy novels does not mean I'm gay.
Yes, it does.
I am, but it's unrelated.
No, it's absolutely related. If you like Egyptian fantasy novels, if you read Rick Riordan books, you obviously must be gay. This is how it works.
And I gotta say, I think it was like shoop.com had incredible, like very detailed chapter outlines. Yeah, yes, sure. There's no way there's 2 different ones that are called such close things, so your thing must be right. But
no, I had like teachers in high school say to use that site for things. So
it was really good. Like, I had each chapter like bullet pointed out. So I would say that like each bullet point was like a paragraph or 2. So you still got every single thing that happened, but I did not have to read like 120 pages. So
Good shit.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I love Egypt. I think that it's like I maybe because I'm less familiar with like Egyptian mythology, I think that it's like very cool. I feel like it's like Greek mythology's like Gothic girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like it's just is like edgier And I was like very obsessed when we studied Egypt in like elementary school. I used to know how to write my name phonetically in hieroglyphs, like off the top of my head. That was like a very important skill that I once had. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for y'all.
Yeah.
I'm excited for y'all. It must be so nice to get to do something different because over on the restricted section, we sure aren't.
Someday soon, Tina. You're so close.
You will be
Someday the
released.
end will come.
You will be released from this mortal coil
Please.
of the restricted section.
Put me in my coffin and sink me into the ground.
Okay, on that note, let's... So, in this chapter, Sadie drops a little man on his head.
Is this correct?
Yeah, she does do that. That did happen.
10 out of 10.
There were so many weird things that happened in this chapter that could have been the chapter title, I feel.
Yeah. There's not the most things happening. It's an important chapter, but not for, like, events.
Yes,
so I'm fine with this.
It's like a learning chapter, which is really cool at the beginning of the first book in a series. I'm going through some learning chapters, not to keep talking about Harry Potter, but over at the end of Deathly Hallows, and those are less cool. Those are less cool chapters.
I was gonna say, that's the end of the book series. We need to stop learning things.
I know. Did you guys bring me here just because it was a library?
Yes.
I always get summoned for library shit. And you know why? It's because I love libraries.
It's even a forbidden library.
We gotta talk about the library with the host of the restricted section and Burn Before Reading because books.
Because books are my job, my side hustle, and my main hobby.
I feel like you get sick of it.
It's like the whole life, man.
I am not sick of it, Charlie. I read like 100. I think I read about 200 pages today of this other book. Well, including Kann Chronicles, I've read like 270 pages probably. No, those were Kindle. Those were phone pages. So like, let's say 220 pages. Yeah.
Phone pages are different.
Yeah, I'm reading a mystery though. So you know how those like snap by? You're like, what the fuck? It's also the messiest, most chaotic mystery I've ever read. Like, there's no way I can keep all the information in my head. I'm just blasting through it. Anyway, catch me if you want to know what book I'm talking about. You're gonna have to listen to the whole episode and wait for plugs.
Hell yeah. Okay, so in this chapter, we drop a little man on his head. Sadie convinces Carter that the Forbidden Library trip is totally necessary, and to get in there, she blows up the doors just magically. She can just do that now.
And, like, without even a worry at all.
Yeah.
Like,
no concerns. I'm just gonna point and
I
shoot.
love this bitch. I love her so much.
Yeah. Oh, Sadie. Okay, they find Dad's work bag in there, and they dig through it, and they manage to accidentally activate a little guy. We're always be talking about little guys.
This one's for real.
They attempt to take advantage of their dad's little enslaved man for information, but he turns out to be pretty useless in general, so then they have to actually read some stuff in the library instead. They find their own family name and a record of the lineage of pharaohs, which probably doesn't mean anything, don't worry about that. And
they're not
then
the chosen one or anything.
Yeah. They learn about those 5 gods that Julius released. We figure out who all those guys were and what their deal is, and how they were born on the last 5 days of the year, which are the demon days. And now the timing of the story makes sense.
Yeah, because it was like Christmas, but yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. It's still Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's still Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I know that he's not technically in this chapter. Do y'all read Julius as like pretty hot?
Yes! I knew you
Charlie has been saying this. I have decided that I stand Amos now. The braids work better for me than bald, I guess.
I'll take both or either. Wait, are they brothers?
Yeah, they're brothers.
All right, I'll take either.
Maybe not at the same time. You can take both, just not at the same time.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad we all agree that the adult men in this series are hot.
Yeah.
They're described as very attractive men, okay?
I think they are too. Like I just completely agree when they were describing Julius. Even though Julius is having like a bad day when you read about him, I'm like, but I want to help him.
I love that.
Rick Riordan doesn't know how to describe people without making them insanely attractive. Like,
True.
like you
or
know,
insanely
being
ugly.
weird about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's either or. You can't just be
there
a
is no
plain
in
Jane.
between.
Oh,
Either you're hot or
Julius.
you're ugly.
What if I married Julius and my name was Christina Kane
That's not the worst.
instead of Christina Kann?
Yeah, yeah.
That just
You
made me
could
think
pull
of-
that off.
Yeah.
It's
That's-
like
I
barely
agree.
even a change.
Yeah. I know my mom got remarried and her last name now is Ahan, which I guess in writing actually actually doesn't sound at all like our last name, but in writing it does. In writing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
You could hyphenate and then you'd be Kane Khan, and that would not be the best.
That's stupid.
Kane Khan.
Like
Oh
King
my
Kong.
God.
That's really bad.
Hey Charlie, do you want to tell us about some myths? Because there sure are some in this one for once.
I mean, that's like
There,
almost the whole chapter.
yeah, there's quite a few. I'm not gonna tell you about everything, but I'll
Yeah,
tell you about
yeah.
some things. They describe the whole Demon Days shit.
Yeah,
I
that's in
don't-
the book. We don't have to
That's
do
in
that.
the book.
We
That's-
already
that's-
talked
that's
about that a
right.
little bit, didn't we?
It's very interesting. Their like logic for like the 360 degrees of a circle, and then you like add
Yeah.
5. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
I do love that.
I'm like,
Specifically.
ooh, this is making like logical sense to me. I mean,
This is-
Mhm.
until she has 5 babies in 5 days or whatever.
Yeah, but like using magic to fuck up math. I
Yeah,
believe in that.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
This is part of my argument on why I was like, I think the Egyptians figured out that the Earth is a circle, and
You're right.
like the entire they figured out how many days are in a year. Like they must have figured some shit out about like astrological things.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
they know shit. Well, it features heavily in this chapter. Let's talk about Shabti, also known as Ushabti or Shawabti.
That's okay.
All
Sure.
of these words
Pronunciation
have
is
so many different
plenty.
spellings.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you are working with a language that does not use like our Roman characters. It's every translation is an approximation.
And the
Yeah.
written vowels too that
Yeah,
they were talking about in the thing and how
Yeah.
they don't have those.
Yeah, I'm learning Japanese right now, which also is a bit. They use not only a different alphabet, but they have like 4 different alphabets, and
Yeah.
it is like much harder for me, like in my stupid brain, to like the way that they just parse words using their characters is just like completely different, and I'm like having just a little bit of an added layer of trouble there compared to like German or Spanish or something.
Right.
Well, so Shabti aren't exactly myth related, but they are, Egyptian things, and they're talked about in the chapter. So
And
I
they're
feel like that's
religious
kind of important.
artifacts, so
They are in fact religious artifacts, and as Carter mentioned in the chapter, they're part of like funeral things, practices. They're placed in tombs, and they're supposed to be like servants or minions for the deceased. So like they're just you. They are in fact your slaves when you are dead. They do your stuff in the afterlife. Thank you.
Weird. I mean, I guess if you're a pharaoh, it just makes sense.
I mean,
yeah, they already have those.
To me, a middle class girly feels weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I always picture them as looking like very different than how they look here based on the chapter. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like not reading it correctly, because when I read the chapter I'm just like, "Oh, it's like a little dwarf man." And I'm like, "No, this is like these are like tiny dolls is what they are."
Yeah, the images on the wiki page that I'm looking at look much more like little dolls, like you're saying. In the book, he's described as like the most crudely like shaped little he looks to me in my brain like a preschooler made him, and he like
Yeah.
barely has arms and legs.
Right, like humanoid, but not human shaped.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But no, these are quite pleasant and pretty.
Yeah, they're like very like basic shaped of like, person in like the mummy situation, arms crossed, feet together.
You mean the
They
way
all have the same
I always identify that as the way that Jamie Lee Curtis sleeps in Freaky Friday. He sleeps
Yeah.
like a dead pharaoh. How do you
And they all have
train
like
your
the same
to do that?
headdress. All right. Originated in the Old Kingdom. They're made from limestone. Oh
I feel
no.
like a lot of things are made from limestone.
Yeah.
I was just learning about caves today on one of my science podcasts. A lot of those made from limestone. Aren't the pyramids also made from limestone?
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I think so.
It's everywhere. You actually can't get away from limestone.
Can't believe they made limes into stones.
Yeah, and they're not even green.
And it does in fact mean either follower or answer in ancient Egyptian. At least it's thought by some that it means that. The actual etymology is like but that's one of the possible ideas. Who knows? Who's to say?
I mean, it makes sense in context.
Yeah. Okay, it says here there's inscriptions. Are those inscriptions on the dolls or just like about them? I'm very confused by that. Oh, is it just like the name on inscriptions maybe? No, yeah. There's
So
stuff
in the
inscribed
afterworld,
on
you
them.
can be like, no, this is mine. It has my name on it.
Honestly,
You can't have him.
would do that. That sounds right to me. Also, there's just a Ushabti box here. Did like they put them in boxes? You know, like they're your little dolls. You put them in like your little
Barbie
your little
Dream
chest
House.
when you're done playing with them.
So it's
Okay.
interesting that these are specifically funerary figures when in the chapter they're saying that they're assistants for magicians specifically. The actual usage seems to be different, and I'm not seeing anything about magicians in here.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that like Rick was kind of doing like a whole like, well, we don't really have like familiars or something like that, like how witches have those. I feel like that's what he's doing with it, is like it's kind of like a familiar spirit, but instead you're making it yourself or something. Also, they are in fact the blood of the pharaohs or whatever. So like the Shabdies only listen to pharaohs.
Spoilers. Just
It's
kidding.
said in the chapter.
Very obvious in this chapter, even though the kids are like, what could this mean?
What could this mean? I don't know. I mean, these things
They
only
don't
listen to
know
pharaohs,
that they
so...
are the main characters in a book. They don't know
Right,
that.
right.
I have to remind myself that I know that.
And even then, it seems like they know. They're just like, we're just not thinking about that right now.
You know, a lot changed really quickly, and he didn't get a good night's sleep. You know, we don't know if Sadie did, and, you know, maybe with another day, they'll be able to come to terms.
Sorry, I'm just reading this thing. How there's just, like, specific ones were inscribed with, like, stuff to certain gods, depending on things. Also, apparently, King Tut had a bunch of them. Like,
Of
so
course.
many of them in his tomb. Because, of course, King Tut, the one that we know the most about.
So what I'm seeing here under shape and material is that, like, pharaohs had very ornate ones and whatnot, but common people had these too, and they were just, like, mass-produced. They would put them into a mold, and they'd make a bunch of them, and then everybody has, you know, little guys for the afterlife. Everybody needs a little guy.
I wish I had a little guy.
Yeah. These are in fact the original little guy. Let's be clear. Are they not? The oldest of little guys to exist.
They kind of, this one picture of them all lined up kind of reminds me of the Terracotta Warriors.
That's literally like a C also at the bottom.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, well, good.
I
Me
love
and
that.
Wikipedia on the same page.
Literally.
I'm literally on the Wikipedia page, yeah.
Yeah. They're cool little guys. I think Rick was just like, let's adapt more things that we know about Egyptian things. But let's move on. Let's talk about something else. I have one more thing for us, and that is the god Ra. Let's talk about him. He was first mentioned in this chapter.
I can only hear, like, when I hear Ra, I can, like, only think of the Prince of Egypt when they're naming all of the gods. Do you remember when they're like, oh, you have gods magic? Well, we have other gods magic, and they're doing, like, actual magic, and they have that song where they're listing gods, and I don't remember any of them except Ra. Because that's like the last one they say, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't repeat any of that chant for you either, so.
Is Prince of Egypt really relevant here?
Yes.
Not exactly, but yes.
It's not relevant.
There are Egyptian magicians in that movie. It's more relevant than the
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb episode we watched.
Right? Okay.
by
yes.
a lot.
My undead mommy and me. All right, let's talk about Ra.
Don't know what
Also,
that is.
his name is sometimes spelled R-E instead of R-A.
Because vowels aren't in hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
So
I guess
the vowels
Raye,
are it's literally just like choose your own vowel adventure.
Raye, you're a god. You just need to take out 2 letters of your name.
Oh my god.
So, probably not relevant at all, but I kind of like that because Raye also, I think that's king in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So we could, you know, make a little linguistic run around on that one.
You got a lot of power in your name.
Yeah. I mean, names have power.
Mm.
Yeah, but mine means like daughter of Christ, and that's dumb. To me.
My brother in Christ.
It is really weird to have the word Christ in your name.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes I think about it and I'm
you know,
like,
you don't even think about it because Christina is just so
yes,
normal,
at least it's not like Christina. That would be crazy.
Oof.
I'm sorry for your religion. All right. Well, Ra. Who's Ra? What do we know about Ra?
Sun god.
Yeah, he's that one.
He's that
and
one.
He's
He
like
is in fact
a big guy, and everybody likes him. That's all I know.
Is the pharaoh supposed to be an incarnation of Ra?
Yes, good job. I give you a sticker.
I've actually, I should have said this at the top, but I've actually read a lot of historical fiction set in ancient Egypt too. I really went through a phase, and I still love like biblical era fiction, just like not Bible stuff, but like the stories, you know, sometimes actually like Old Testament stuff, you know, like the Red Tent. But so I vividly remember reading this fictionalized account of Nefertiti's life, which was like extremely cool and powerful. So yeah, the gods that they talk about, I definitely feel like I know, even though I couldn't remember any at the beginning of this episode except the cat one.
I mean, there's a few that are very well mentioned, and I think they're all named in this chapter, basically.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
So yeah, Ra is like the most important guy. I mean, does this have the... Okay, so some of these Egyptian god pages have like a Greek equivalent on there, and I was gonna say he's not really the Zeus equivalent, even though he's like, you know, the most important guy.
The head god in charge.
The head god in charge. But this is saying his Greek equivalent would be Helios.
That makes perfect sense.
Because, you know,
Bringer of sun, yeah.
Yeah.
Bringer of sun.
That one.
And as I think I've already mentioned it on like 2 episodes so far, he's literally, he drives on his sunboat like across the sky every day. And then when it's nighttime, the boat goes into the underworld.
That's so cool
he's
because
dead.
It definitely makes sense that if they were like sharing, you know, one way or the other, Greece and Egypt, that Egypt would be like a fucking chariot. No, he's gonna be on a boat. We get around on boats. But like Greece would be like a boat? No. We use chariots here.
Yeah, he's got a whole sun barge. It's a whole thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Them Nile like luxury barges of like the ancient nobility sounded pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, so he's alive during the day, he goes across the sky, and then he dies in the night and goes to the underworld, and then rises anew. And there's like different aspects of him as the sun, yada yada yada. So he's the god of the sun, order, kings, and the sky. And yeah, as you said, a lot of the times the pharaoh is an incarnation of Ra. In some versions, he's also an incarnation of Horus, And then when the pharaoh dies, he's an incarnation of Osiris.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it really depends.
Well, but like the opposite of an incarnation, if he's dead.
Yes.
It's like incarnate. It's like in the flesh.
It's a representation, word.
An
something.
avatar?
Perhaps an avatar.
Did anyone else like not know the common usage of that word and learned it from Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I got the wrong idea of that word from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I
Yes.
saw it used in other contexts, and I was like,
Correct.
whoa.
I totally agree. And it was like internet avatars, and then like the 2009 James Cameron Avatar came out, and I was like, I think I'm starting to finally understand what this word means.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the thing about, not to get into Avatar, but like Avatar doesn't exactly explain that it's like, oh yeah, you are the avatar of like bringing about goodness in the world.
Yeah,
and all of this.
I probably would have not called it that. You know what I mean? Like for a child audience.
Yeah.
Not that it mattered.
Or at least like made it like clearer what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Because it's never really explained. It's just what he is.
Yeah, it's like calling him like the Oracle or something. You know what I mean? It's like a job title.
It makes sense if you think about like Hinduism and all of that. There's like a whole lot about.
I think the problem with this now in my Avatar: The Last Airbender podcast, I think the problem is that like you're usually an avatar for something.
Yeah,
but
true.
like they never explain. They're like
they don't explain till Korra.
ATLA makes it sound like you just are you're an avatar for the avatar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Korra is like where we kind of get it explained.
A little too much.
A little, yeah. Still my favorite episodes, but so raw. So he has a falcon head. So does Horus. There's a reason that they're like very similar. You know, they're both the king. I guess the king just likes falcons. Like,
okay, it's a kingly thing to like.
Yeah.
Like honestly, the only difference. So I'm looking at back and forth between the two of their images, and the only difference is that like Horus has the double crown of like Upper and Lower Egypt, and then Ra has like the sun disk on his head.
Mm-hmm.
He was king of the gods. Let's see, his parents. Too many options. We have none is most accounts. He just exists because he's Ra. He's fucking Ra. Other options, Khnum, I think, and Neef. Who the fuck is Khnum? Oh, okay. Okay. I know who you are. I think that's also possibly one of his aspects sometimes.
Is that myself or my dad? It's both.
Yeah.
I am my mom! There's also Hathor as an option. And this person who I don't know who you are. Oh, it's the cow. It's one of the many cows, but it's like, I think that's probably one of the most important cows. Mehet Weret.
We love cow gods.
Oh, your kitty likes cow gods. I heard that in the background. Raye, was that you?
Yeah,
So
she was voicing her
cute.
approval.
So cute.
Oh, okay, here we go. So if he is the son of Khnum and Neith, he has 3 siblings. Apep, also known as Apophis, you know, the chaos snake. Don't worry about
that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not important at all to Ra's story whatsoever. Sobek, the crocodile god, and Serket, the scorpion goddess.
Ooh, I remember the crocodile one. I love how intense their gods are.
Like, right? Listen, this is the furry religion. This is the
See, I told you they were edgy.
I like how all of his siblings are just creatures.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
when I
a
say
creature.
my brothers are animals, this is what I mean.
There's a difference between like birds and then reptiles and insects, you know? I feel like
Let's see.
I feel like that's something else.
His consort is either Hathor, Sekhmet, or Bast.
I mean, if you're if you're the head god in charge, you get a harem. And I see that when he's in the underworld, he's commonly featured with a ram's head, and he's called the ram in charge of his harem.
Yeah, that's where Knoom comes in. I think that's
Get it, Ra?
The version of him where he has the horns sometimes, or maybe I'm conflating Kann things. I don't know. There's so many things on here. Okay, I already talked about his journey through the sun. He's also the sun as a creator god. Sometimes he created everything, but it really depends. There's a lot of different fucking creation myths.
Yes.
The sun gives life. Yes, it does. Also, sometimes it's the water that gives life, and there's primordial waters.
You do just objectively need both.
That's all you need. The sun and water, and then you have life, right?
I think
that's it.
I think, literally, yes.
It's tricky to get those, though.
That's true. I mean, sun is everywhere. Water can be hard.
Okay, but you gotta get in the right amount, or else it is a laser and it kills you.
Okay, alright, that's fair.
Alright. The sun is a deadly laser.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, this is that when Ra was in the underworld, he merged with Osiris. Makes sense, because they're both the kings. Ha 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 ha.
Man, Hades would not have liked that.
I mean, well, in Greek mythology, Hades was not often called his name. He was often called, a darker Zeus, or, Zeus of the underworld. So,
and I bet Hades didn't like that at all.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So they wouldn't say his name and make him matter for reasons.
It's like calling someone like Charlie's girlfriend. It's like, she has a name. Call me by my name, please.
She has a name. It's
Abby.
Love of my life. There you go. Iconography. I already talked about how he looks like Horus. Oh yeah, the sun disk has a cobra on it because it's fucking Egypt and they love snakes. Have I mentioned they love snakes?
Yeah.
They do. They really like snakes.
Yeah,
Why did it have to be snakes?
I think they just live in the Nile. I think it's proximity.
Yes.
Yeah. Like literally. But he also has a bunch of other forms. There's the one with the beetle head. The beetle head is the scariest god. Someday we'll talk about him. His name is Khepri. Don't worry about it. Yeah. It's just a guy with a beetle for a face.
Tales of Beetle the God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had to rephrase my joke to make it clearer.
But he also has some other forms. There's the ram one you mentioned. There's just a full-bodied ram. Beetle, phoenix, heron, serpent, cat, bull, cat, lion.
It's almost like gods can do whatever they fucking want to.
Literally. How are you supposed to know if it's Ra or if it's just a fucking snake?
It's the way that any old man in any Norse myth just is Odin. It's is that snake?
Canon.
Is that snake Ra again? Okay. Okay, hi
Ra?
Snake. Hi, Mr. Snake.
Is it the evil snake? Is it the good snake? Is it just a fucking snake?
Yeah, the snake's
Who's to say?
The snake's I just live here.
Yeah.
We should get into the chapter soon. Do you have any other points of particular interest?
Well, hey, Ra's the first king of Egypt. Thus it was believed pharaohs were his descendants and successors.
That's why you have to fuck your brother.
Gotta keep that god blood.
Oh, God. Why did you say this? That's the most important thing to take away from this.
I mean, Egypt
you have to fuck your brother.
like to do that. Why did I have to say this? I'm not the one who said it.
So did many people. So did every single religion. Fuck your brother, is what it says. And now let's drop a little man on his head.
Yay.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of cruelty to little men in this chapter.
Yeah,
also cruelty to Carter. He's a little man.
Yeah,
Carter
that
kind
too.
of. I don't want to say he deserves it, but I think he needs it.
He needs a little bit of a push. As Raye and I have been talking about, Carter just the way he doesn't go about and ask questions or do things that he's told not to do. It's a trauma response, basically.
Sure.
A lot of weird ass shit happened to him as a child, and he was taught that there were certain expectations when those sort of things happened.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting because I think both of them comment on how it feels like Sadie is the older sibling, and it just like does as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's like, well, we're gonna go into the library, obviously. Like, did you hear everything that just happened at breakfast? Like, evil shit's coming for us. The world is gonna end. Gods are real? Like the Egyptian gods?
The ones you heard about. Yes. Continuing. Okay. She does a pretty good job here of being like, no, it's not because he just told us not to go in there. Well, it sort of is because of that, because that means that there's something worth looking at in there. And here's this situation. We are in a situation where gathering the most information we can is going to be important.
Yeah, and like, if you're worried about getting in trouble, reeling from a traumatic news dump is like a great time to not get in trouble for stuff, you know? Oh, but Uncle Amos, we were just so worried.
Our dad just died.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Or similar.
We're not sure.
Classic Sally Jackson shit. I tell you what.
God, you're so right. That had never occurred to me. We got parallels up the wazoo.
You can't have parents parenting these 12-year-old protagonists.
Rick does. Rick's just like, you're gonna have a singular parent. Guess what? In one of the first chapters, the singular parent is going to disappear and might be dead. You don't know. Die. Maybe you have to save them. Unclear. Also, gods are real. Don't worry about it. Okay, but who tries to stop them as soon as they try to go into this library?
Who else?
It's Monkey.
Like Khufu.
Our boy.
Oh, yeah. He gives it his all, too. I love this guy.
As in, he dribbles a basketball at them until Sadie distracts him with food.
You know what? From a baboon, that's more than I expected.
Yeah, true.
I love that she planned this. Like, Sadie, genius.
She's
wonderful.
Genius. I love her. I love her with all my heart.
Yeah, you're so right, because she didn't know she was going to be doing this today. She was just like, I'm going to grab Cheerios just in case.
You never know. What if I get hungry? Great snack.
But especially because it ends in O, so therefore Khufu would want it, and it's like,
so
Khufu, you want this? You want this? Go get it. Bye. Cool. Carter,
smart cookie, that girl.
Let's go rip this padlock off of this door. Can they do that? Kind of?
Apparently not.
I mean, they don't not rip the padlock off the door.
Carter tries, but he's 14, so that doesn't really work out at first.
This is like a good chapter title contender. We explored the door off the library.
Yes, that is the other, like, big actual event that occurs. Mm-hmm. Hey, Sadie can do magic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
she can just do that.
Wounds.
Yeah.
I do like when magic takes a toll. I feel like a lot of times it's a little too easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She just expended a spell slot.
She did. And she only had one.
I was gonna say, she's like a level 1. She only has one spell slot, I guess. So she's not doing so hot. Already. She had a big breakfast and now she's like, I am so hungry and tired. What the heck? But
she does, like, literally swoon a little bit, and I would have liked for her to, like, fall and have Carter catch her and have them both be like, well, that was weird. I'm gonna put you down now.
Just, like, drops her.
That would happen in the show, okay? In the show version or the movie version, whatever.
Because it's a visual gag, yeah.
It's definitely a visual gag. Yeah. But she makes bright gold hieroglyphics appear. She's just like, does a weird gesture and is like, Hadi, which is the destroy thing. Which I can't, apparently destroy means explode. Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how destroy
what else?
If not explode?
Blink out of existence.
That's not destroying.
Okay. Sure.
Still intact, just somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Christina on this one. It's when you say you're going to destroy something, go big or go home.
Yeah.
You know, this is a reference no one here will get. Maybe she did a
Say it
cataclysm on it.
anyway.
She cast cataclysm like Cat Noir did. There you go.
No, but cataclysm things just like disintegrate. This like actually exploded.
And boom goes the dynamite.
All right, we're in the library. It's fucking huge. It's pretty.
I will say, no books.
There are books. They're
There
in
are
scrolls.
Works.
Yes.
I would argue that a book is a specific shape and setup.
You're right. But that doesn't mean that it's not a library.
I agree.
It holds
I'll
the
agree.
written word.
But I think that for me, culturally, visually, I would be like, well, this isn't a library. Like, this doesn't have the coziness of the books on the shelves in the same way that I come to expect from a library.
0 out of 10, no books.
So
I'm never coming back to Egypt again.
We're not really there yet, but they describe that all of these scrolls are in pneumatic, like, tube, like, shaped
cool.
things, like those little, cylindrical plastic things at the bank, and I think that's so fun and cool and clever.
Very cool.
Like, that's the perfect way to, like, update a scroll library for, like, a modern setting.
I love it. It's very good. I also just love how this like place is set up. We got goddess of the sky on the ceiling. We have our god of the earth on the floor. Listen, this is how I would do a very cool Egyptian themed library as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. They were stepping on that guy.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
talking about
wondering
him,
if
and
that's
she's
allowed.
She's like, this one is like right under her little tootsie, and I'm like, maybe he wouldn't like that.
Guess what? You're always stepping on the earth, and Geb is the earth. So
It's like his
I mean,
face,
true.
though. It's his incarnate face.
Does he care? I don't know.
Only time will
So
tell.
I'm wondering if Rick just like made up this like design ethos just for this room, or if this is like something that you would see in like Egyptian places of worship or whatever. And
Maybe
I'm
we'll get into
feeling
that.
like it could go either way, because it does feel almost disrespectful to like just have him be on the floor.
Yeah, potentially.
It's either disrespectful or only right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the two. I'm just not sure.
We also have like some little guys at our 4 compass points, all holding different items. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like me and how I was thinking of it, because it says half-size humans and
A halfling.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking that they are just like halflings made of like ceramics. They're just like shorter people, and the thing that we saw is that they're just supposed to be dolls. Like, I don't know. I'm just...
Oh, well, these are bigger than the regular Shabtis, because
Yeah.
they are able to pick up and carry these scrolls. And so it makes sense to me that they would be made at a different scale than the usual ones.
Perhaps.
For sure. They're kind of like maybe like lawn jockeys. Which I'm saying in that way because most lawn jockeys, at least where I live, when you see them anymore, usually kind of racist.
Oh no.
If not like extraordinarily racist.
I don't know what that is. You'll have to describe it for me.
Oh my god, it's like a little statue of like a servant man that you put like outside your rich person house.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
And, like, a lot of the time they like I've definitely witnessed some old ones that are like very horrific, like black stereotype looking, you know. But they also just have like regular dudes. Like some of them are not racist, but they're all servants waiting on you.
That is a really weird concept.
Is that a South thing?
It must be.
Oh,
sounds like it might
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
You know what my brain was going to? Gnomes.
They are not dissimilar, but gnomes are here to fuck shit up, and the lawn jockeys are here to help. They actually are mortal enemies.
But they're also here to fuck shit up.
They should be in the Romeo and Juliet series.
Oh my god!
Just as like villains.
Wait, but that... Okay. Also, Romeo and Juliet. We're bringing it back. Have we mentioned this before in this pod? Or
I'm almost certain that for some reason Romeo and Juliet has come up before.
I was just like, Romeo and Juliet has definitely come up recently on a podcast for me, and I don't remember why. But yeah, they're gnomes. That's what I'm thinking the Shabti are.
Okay,
anyway.
cool. Yeah, I like that.
I believe gnome was repossessed.
Instead of their full like British Isles style beards, they have like those little pharaoh stick-on beards.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing. And then instead of the pointy hats, they have like the Egyptian headdress. Like,
yeah.
See, it's the same thing.
Pretty
it's just
cute,
like
actually.
Egyptian style gnomes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sadie thinks that there might be traps.
And Carter's he's like I'm an expert, and just like walks in, and Sadie's like, what? Come on now, this is opposite. It's not opposite day, Carter. Get back here.
Like, this is not Indiana Jones. There are no traps. Also, I guess Egyptian tombs didn't have traps, but they had curses. Or didn't usually have traps. Mostly curses.
And Sadie's like, if you get attacked by a donkey from a curse, then like don't blame me. So
I want to know about this donkey curse. Like, I want to know.
When I hear that there's a donkey curse, I figure that the curse will turn you into a donkey. That's not where Sadie went with that.
Midsummer Night's Dream energy.
Just turn into bottom. Don't worry about it. Okay, so Carter opens up his dad's bag. He goes through it, and then what do we grab out of here? We grab the weird box that their dad used, and Sadie's asking why the Egyptians move sideways.
So cute. If my kid
Sadie,
asked me
please.
this, I would be like, you're a brilliant, perfect little butterfly, but I'm going to explain to you why that's so silly.
I mean, she didn't know. She didn't know there's a reason.
Child.
See, but come on, girl. They don't just walk like that. I mean, there is a song about walking like an Egyptian. Yes. So I mean, I guess that people just kind of thought that they did that for some reason. No, it's an art style, and it's specifically for religious purposes, as they explain here. Yeah, it is very interesting. I feel like I don't remember these books especially well, and I've only ever read the first two, but I feel like the actual Egyptian mythology facts stuck in my brain a lot better than the actual books, because I do remember this. So Egyptians are painted sideways like that so that they can see their torso, their arms, and their legs all at the same time, because you don't want to be missing one in your image, or else it might, mess you up in the afterlife.
It reminds me of the old, what? Like, wait, what's it called? Like a wives' tale? What? Old superstition? Oh my god. That, like, when you have your photograph taken, it, like, steals your soul. It's like...
Right, exactly. Similar. And they say the same thing here, that, like, they won't paint their face front on, or else, like, the image might want to become you.
Which makes sense for some, like, later stuff as well. I mean, the Shabtis don't become them, but they could become a person if it's too fully formed.
Mm-hmm. If it's perfect, then yeah.
So you gotta give it some imperfections, which is very interesting. So, like, I mean, like, we already know that Egyptian magic is very much based on, like, what you write. It could also be maybe based on what you draw, perhaps. Like, it's all about iconography and symbolism and all of that. So
very cool.
I was just about to say, very cool. It is cool as hell.
Yeah, it's a magic system that has its own logic that, like, comes from a real world religion. Like, I like everything that's going on here. Yeah. Okay, well, not everything. I'm gonna have complaints in a hot minute here once we get to our little man.
I was gonna say, I love that Carter says that if little sisters talk too much, Egyptians threw them to the crocodiles. And Sadie appreciates his, like, the sense of humor.
He got her. He got her with that one.
She appreciated it.
Finally, it's been a one-way bullying session this whole time.
Do you appreciate them as siblings? Do you think they're a realistic set of siblings?
I do.
In my sibling set, I'm the middle sibling, and I am the Carter sibling. Sometimes somebody just has to be bullyable.
I think
that's me.
I think that they make sense for being like basically estranged and this age.
Mhm.
It's like they don't really know
Mhm.
how to talk to each other, so they're defaulting to almost like stereotypes of siblings, but because of their personalities, they are defaulting in like opposite ages from what you would expect, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we take out all the stuff in here. Pretty cool stuff. There's some papyrus. There's a little statue, some twine, and then there's a wax figurine of a little man.
Little guy.
A little guy.
Yeah, and then they're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, there's nothing here that really tells us what happened to Dad. And Sadie's like, let's just hold up this little man. Tell me what you know. The little man, I answer the call.
And that's when he gets dunked.
This little guy is so dramatic and funny and a little tragic. He's
See, here's my complaint. I kind of figure that the ones that are supposed to be in your tubes or whatever are like automatons or something. Why did Rick have to make this guy have a personality and hate being enslaved and like feel pain? And
because that's a Rick
this
thing.
was not necessary.
I know. I feel like he's like, well, it's not like a real person. It's just like bewitched to have life. That doesn't make it better, though.
It does not make it better that Julius just has a guy that he keeps.
Like, it's the fact that this feels like house elves to me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I wasn't gonna say it, but like the vibes are there.
House elves are grateful to be enslaved. This guy hates it, which I think is a little better.
Yeah.
But it's better from a narrative standpoint, but almost worse from a like in-universe standpoint.
Sure. Yes.
I feel like to me it's a similar thing of like, if you just treat them good, they probably wouldn't have a problem helping you do things. Right?
Right.
Am I wrong?
That's not really how it's been explained here, because he's like, if he made me good, then I would have killed him. Like, that does seem to be the standard.
I mean, I think, again, the issue here is that you're not, treating Doughboy like a person, maybe? If you treated it like it was an actual person with autonomy, perhaps.
I think that he would use that autonomy to kill you, because it's in his nature.
Yeah.
Unclear. That's not really what I get from the actual ones from Egyptian culture, which is why I'm like,
yeah.
This is different, though. He reminded me, do y'all remember that guy in The Hunchback of Notre Dame who, like, gets out of imprisonment and then immediately entraps himself in another way, like, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't seen that movie enough, but
it's pretty funny. This guy's the star. He's, like, so old, and he's, like, in a cage, and then the lock breaks, and he's like, I'm free! And then he, like, falls into a well, and he's like, oh, no!
I know. I remember there's like a time where he's in stocks or something as well.
Yeah. And then he accidentally walks into the cage. Yeah, so that's the first part, maybe.
Poor guy. Okay, so he has to tell them everything he knows because he's a servant of Julius Kann.
He's not going to be nice about it, though. He's going to yell.
Yeah. He needed to have a personality for some reason, but they're the children of Julius Kann, so they have the right to know things. Okay, so, yeah, he's being annoying.
He tries to run off when he hears that Julius is gone, and Carter just kind of lifts him, puts him back in his box.
Yeah.
There's this, I wouldn't call it a drinking game in and of itself, but we invoke it sometimes when you need a rule in, like, Kings or something, called the Little Green Man, where if you need to take a drink of your beverage, you're supposed to pretend there's a little green man sitting on the lip, and you have to take him off nicely. Okay, you don't want to piss him off. You put him down next to your drink. You take a sip, put your drink down, and then you have to remember to put him back gently where he belongs. This is that guy.
Yeah. His new job.
Yeah. Little green man, right there.
You'd like it better, I think.
Yeah. He's taking sips,
Yeah.
This guy would fucking party. I don't know why I
tips are
get that
tips.
vibe, but
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay, so what does he tell them? He tells them what Shabti are. We already talked about that. They try to ask what happened to their dad. He doesn't know anything about that, so he can't really tell them.
so he viciously decides not to tell them.
It's so funny. He's like, ha! I only have to tell you what I know. I don't have to tell you any of my conjecturing, you idiots. Very
And
funny.
he just-
pedantic.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He also asked them some questions. Like he's like he wants to know what happened to like the staff and the wand and whatever. And yeah, he's very happy that Julius Cain seems to be dead. Perhaps.
Yikes.
Perhaps. So
Perhaps.
he's gone. He's not going to tell them anything. They can't reactivate him. And they try to activate the other Shabti in the room because obviously there's like the other 4 guys, but they're not doing anything. They won't react.
It's like
Strange,
in a
they're just
video
chilling.
game when you are like not quite certain. You're like, I'm definitely in the right place. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Trials of Shar in Baldur's Gate where it's like, well, I'm here. Poke poke. Walk around, click on a painting. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely similar vibes. So we take out some of the scrolls. Let's see, there's the Book of the Heavenly Cow, the Book of Slaying Apophis. That's probably not important. Not at all
nothing.
important. Don't worry about it. It's just a giant snake monster.
Snakes are always great in mythology, right? If I'm remembering correctly, they're always like nice, good guys.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it depends.
I'm thinking of 3 nice, good guys from mythology right now, and they're all snakes.
See, I feel like it's another one of those things of extremes. A snake is either a pretty chill guy or he's like a world-ending monstrosity, and there's like no in between.
I am joking. Are there any good snakes?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Western stuff, snakes are more often bad than not. But if you go into Eastern stuff, snakes, aka dragons.
Oh, that's
Mm.
different. I didn't say dragons.
Yeah, but it's very like they're basically the same thing.
All right, well,
Because dragons are big serpents in Eastern stuff.
that's valid,
So-
but not for this question.
Yeah. So
Remember
Very,
that snake
very
in the
different.
Garden of Eden, though? You guys suck.
Yeah, totally chill guy.
absolutely normal guy. Don't worry about it. It's just Crowley.
My beloved.
I was thinking of the Montero music video by Lil Nas X where he's playing the snake and he's also playing everything else in that music video.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna watch that after I get off this call. That's a great music video.
You should do that. Absolutely. Carter also pulls out another thing and is like, Sadie, can you read this? And she's like, I can read these like couple words at the top, and that's about it. But what it says is blood of the great house. And great house basically is the same word as pharaoh. Like it's that's what it means. It means great he had a great house.
Makes
he had
sense.
the White House, basically.
More houses. I feel like the word house is more versatile in Egyptian than in English.
I don't know
Well,
because
like-
if you think back to like the like olden days in like British feudalism, you know, when they were like your last name, your family, your house, you're the leader.
Yeah.
We call you by the name of your house. That's your name.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
That's the meeting.
Like the Duke of Gloucester was called Gloucester. I know
Yeah.
that's not a how that's like an area, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I think it is common in like older types of government.
That makes
like
sense,
like
yeah.
where you're from is also your name.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jesus
Mhm.
didn't have a last name. It was not Christ. It was Jesus of Nazareth.
It was Jesus Christ, superstar. Last name
To
superstar.
just that was on my brain because we kept talking about Jesus before. Anyway. Okay. But the things Sadie can't read are in these little circle things called cartouches.
So funny. She's like, that sounds like a dirty word. And every 12-year-old reading this book is like, douche. I've heard douche. I've heard douche.
Yeah, it just means that like it's protected, and that's why she can't read it probably. But they're names. That's what they
I
are.
fucking love that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, this very simple, like, again, just like this very simple symbology that just works in their magic system.
Yeah, it's very anti-fae. Steal not my name, fairy.
Yeah,
Belongs
it's
to
so
me.
cool.
And if I'm remembering correctly, the cartouches are always specifically used for the names of pharaohs.
Mm.
So that's like a thing.
My Nana had one with her name in it when I was growing up, which I thought was so cool. She wore it every day.
Wow.
Very good. But hey, guess what? We found out that we are the chosen ones now because Carter's like, I know this one. It's our name.
Dun-dun-dun.
What?
That's probably nothing.
Definitely couldn't be. Also, Sadie's like, wow, that's ridiculous. They don't have vowels. It could be anything. Who's to say that says Kann?
But then she lists like 3 example words that simply are not words.
One of these is
Knee
words.
and acne are words.
I guess, but
not-
I guess maybe because they're spelled with a K, I'm like not really buying it.
There's also Kann on here. Wait. This is very close to what your name would be in hieroglyphics. There you go.
Okay.
You just need another N.
yeah.
But do I, if it's like sound based, need another N? You know,
I have no idea actually. I couldn't tell you.
I don't think I do because it
So
goes
maybe-
on. If they skip consonants, that leads me to believe they go based on sounds. Wait,
Maybe-
that doesn't make sense.
You mean they skip vowels? That means
Yeah,
they're.
yeah.
I mean, maybe this means that you're the blood of the pharaohs.
I'm
Whoa.
0% Egyptian. The Raye and Charlie, you know.
I mean, is Kann even an Egyptian name? No.
No, it sounds really cool though, doesn't it? What is Jackson, a Greek last name?
No, Rick.
You got us there.
We all know why his last name is Percy Jackson. His last name is Jackson. We know, and it's because of Jackson Treznavare.
Oh my
That's
god.
why he named Percy
for-
after his
I
first
forgot about
character.
that. Guys, that was so long ago.
Maybe someday we'll
We
come back
just keep bringing
for
it
the
up.
sequel.
I was
We're
young
carrying
then.
that book with us for the rest of our lives.
I got rid of that book so quickly. I put it in a little free library so hard. It's like never returned to me.
If I'm ever able to see Rick at any possible signing ever again, I will bring that book.
Yeah, that's really funny,
Very-
actually, Charlie. That's
very
funny.
specifically.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so he'll be like,
I probably would
"What?"
too. He signed out a million gajillion copies of Lightning Thief. You gotta get him to do something that'll make you stand out in his memory. He's like, "You've read Big Red Tequila?" And you're like, "Of course, Rick."
Of course, it's like your greatest work.
Greatest work. If you don't know what we're talking about, sign up for the bonus show. Oh no, you released that on the main feed at some point, I think.
I did release that on the main feed this year at some point.
I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Not
that's
this
probably
year.
great.
When did I release that?
It doesn't matter.
Last
Nobody's going to
September.
look for it. Oh my god, that was a year ago.
Dang.
Yeah.
But then
Dang.
we
The time moves too fast. I hate it.
We
It should
covered
stop.
it like a year ago before that, though, on the bonus show. I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah. It was a while ago. Literally 2022. September 2022 is when we covered it. September 2023 is when I released it to the main feed.
Wow, and now
You're
it's
welcome.
September 2024. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's time to do book 2.
Oh no.
Okay, where were we?
I don't even know.
Where we were at the end.
Oh, they're in denial about their name.
Yeah.
But
No, it's the Nile.
It's a river in Egypt.
and that's where they are.
Guys,
Okay.
I do want to see the Nile so badly. It sounds so fucking beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want to see some water.
At least
doesn't
in
love
all the
some water?
biblical era fiction I've read about it, it was really beautiful back then. Can't
Who's
account
to
for
say it
these
isn't
days.
now?
I don't know. Just cities have a way of ruining everything.
It's true.
It's true.
Okay. Sadie's thinking about some things about gods and magic existing and their family, and how she's like, wow, I don't dwell on the past a lot, but like, if I had the chance to bring my mom back to life, I would blow up the Rosetta Stone like 50 times over.
Oh yeah.
I love that character building moment for her. Yeah.
Yeah. I like her so much. She's
Sadie's
a
just good.
great character.
I mean,
I
they're
understand
both
Carter
good.
has trauma, but I kind of do just want to like shake him. Like some crazy shit is happening, Carter. Come on, wake up.
I think you
He's
need
doing
to
his
shake
best.
him and then also give him a hug. Like, he needs both of these things.
Yeah, I'll do both.
Yeah.
I'll do both. Yeah. The hug can be the aftercare of the shake.
Okay, and then we go into our story about the 5 gods. And Carter's remembering, right, their mother is this goddess up here. Nuts.
And they're like, LOL. But they can't really say why it's funny, but they're like, guys, you know this is funny, right?
I mean, Sadie's like, was her last name Case? And I'm not gonna lie, as a small child reading this series, I was like, man, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever read.
But then, like, a line later, it's like they were born of nut, and Sadie, like, laughs again, and I'm like, that's the one.
That's the
one.
dick joke.
Aren't
there
we
it
all
is.
born from nut?
God.
Okay, so she's the mom. There's this demon days, there's 5 gods, and he's like, I want the story in English. I don't know where it is.
Sadie can't read this because it's in cursive, which, like, valid me too.
Yeah. Again, I'm learning Japanese and I'm learning the first alphabet. I'm not going to say, I have a hard time remembering what the alphabets are called. And then I'm like finally getting the hang of it. And they're like, cool, here's the second alphabet, which we use when we don't know what anything is. And I'm like, okay.
Truly.
I'm like, I know one of them is kanji, and that's all I know.
That's not either of the ones that I have
katakana,
learned so
hiragana.
Yes, those are the 2 I've learned. Yes.
Cool.
Good job. Thank you.
See,
Maybe
I
I
was
don't know
trying to
anything.
remember those in a different episode, and it was so bad that I cut the entire section out because
sometimes
I
your
could
brain
not
just
think of
can't
them.
remember really basic stuff, and it feels terrible, but everybody's brain does it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not really basic, but the other day I could not remember who co-starred in Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio. I was like, what is that bitch's name? She's like the most famous actress in the world. I've said her name 10,000 times in my life, and I had to Google it, and I was like, I'm freaking Kate Winslet! I knew that!
Like, how dare you not remember this woman?
terrible.
She's gorgeous. She's wonderful.
Really embarrassing.
Okay. So, this is when we finally figure out that the Shabti that are on the walls respond to needing books or scrolls or reading material because they're librarians. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And so they bring Carter a version of the story in English. He skims it. Sadie asks for food. They do not give her food.
Oh, yeah.
And now,
they only get
about
scrolls.
this myth. We gotta talk about this scroll, this myth. There's nuts. There's Geb. I think we also had this conversation at one point where we're like, is it Geb or is it Jeb or this definitely happened off air.
Don't go Jeb. No. It reminds me too much of Job from Arrested Development, and that's just like not an association a god wants to have.
Yeah. Jeb just, it sounds too much like
Jebediah.
some guy. Yeah.
Some guy,
Is it a GIF or a GIF?
See,
Different.
I would say Geb, but I do say GIF, so sorry.
You're also evil, so.
Wow.
It's a GIF. Okay, so they wanted to have
we
kids.
all have different opinions about stuff?
No. Absolutely not. Okay, they want to have kids, and there's a prophecy, dun dun dun, that their child's...
Tell me about the prophecy.
Yeah, that their child would replace Ra as king. It's a whole thing.
This seems a little familiar to perhaps some Titans and whatnot.
Weird.
Right.
Weird how that happens.
And I'm sure Ra's like super excited about that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's some stuff that happens later on in his story that explains some things. Ra forbids Nut from having her children on any day or night of the year, which feels very Apollo and Artemis, not gonna lie, when Hera was just like, no, you cannot have these children on any, like, land. Like, any place, the land or sea, you cannot.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to go to, like, a floating island or something.
Ooh, or like in Macbeth, when they were like, a man born of no woman is gonna kill you, and he's like, well, that's nonsense, and then it was like the world's first C-section, and they were like, see, he wasn't born at all.
There you go.
Okay, I guess he was never born. I don't know.
There you go. He wasn't born, he was forcibly taken out of her.
I guess.
It works.
I love Tolkien's feminist angle on that one.
I am no man.
Yeah.
We love some loopholes, don't we? Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're fun.
what did Nut do? She did a gambling. She gambled with the moon god for some moonlight, and
And
she
the
got
moon sucks at gambling.
apparently.
Very funny character trait of the moon.
And she got 5 new days so that she could have all 5 of her kids. I want to know, was she always going to have 5 kids, or like
was just
it
the
only
amount of days she had? That's all she could do.
She's like, all right, this is as good as I could get.
I don't know. It's unclear. What
Unclear.
do we do with other?
Or
like,
she could have
part
just
of a
had all of
day?
her babies on one day, but she just kept going because she's like, they all need different birthdays, or else they're gonna get jealous. It's gonna be a whole thing.
She's like, I
True,
want to
true.
be in labor for at least 5 days.
True.
Said no woman ever.
God, but what do we do? What about the leap year? Where's that child?
No.
Does she have a child some years?
Come until later.
Only has a child every 4th year. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Oh my God.
So each of her children born on a separate day, and one of them is Osiris. And the other 4 are Horus, Set, Isis, and Nephthys. And
I
Carter always
forget about
forgets
that
her.
one.
Yeah. So that's all 5 of them. And the theory is that, like, they're in prison together, or maybe because they were born together, they had to be summoned in the world together. Set's evil. He's the god of evil and chaos and desert storms.
And maybe
So-
fire.
He was responsible for a desert storm? The
Yeah.
war?
Oh no!
I mean, literally, he says he wants to create the greatest storm or something, right? So, like, makes sense. He's the Red
Yeah.
Lord. He's colored red. Also, maybe he's an evil bunny rabbit.
What?
What?
I don't recall that from the
You don't
chapter.
recall? So there's the god with the animal. They all have like
yes,
the animal
it's
heads.
an animal head that they can't identify.
But he's bright red, and they're like, is it a dog, an anteater, an evil bunny rabbit? Unclear, but he's red, so it's probably Set,
The Red Lord?
the Red Lord.
Wait, that's so funny. That's not a bunny. Isn't that like a jackal?
It's an animal that is not easy to identify either. Like, that's just like a thing that nobody knows what it's really supposed to be.
I've
And
always
there's,
thought
like,
it was a jackal type of, I don't, something in that realm.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
that's one of the things that people think it could be, but it's again,
Oh, I
it's
see. I see that
never
it's like
really
a
been
whole
confirmed.
thing.
It's really just a
African
whole
wild
ass
dog,
thing.
hyena, jackal are all on here. The snout is way too elongated to be a hyena. I disagree with that. A fennec
Yeah.
fox? A fennec fox! So cute!
But like,
It's
yeah,
too
there's
cute
like
for him.
Too cute!
we're gonna talk about the Set animal as it's called eventually, because
Okay.
that's its whole own deal.
I
It's
eagerly
That's
weird.
some
await it.
terminology I remember.
It's not a bunny, even though its
definitely
head
not a bunny.
its head does kind of look like a bunny. Not
I
gonna
think
lie.
that it just has ears. The snout is so long. That's like a
That's
dog
fair.
snout.
It's just a severely surprised dog with the ears going all the way up.
Ooh. Oh my god, yeah. Like those German shepherds with like the big ears bigger than their heads. So fucking cute. And then you talk
Yep.
to them and it like cocks its head a little bit. One of the ears goes floppy. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're welcome. Okay, so the demon days, as these 5 days are called, if they're propped on the end of the year, that means it's like gonna start in 2 days.
It's today.
That's why
The
this is relevant.
demon days are over. Wait. But sing that after. Sing that again at the end of the book.
Yeah.
When the demon days are over.
we'll have that
Absolutely.
like queued up.
Thanks. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, shit is gonna happen. There was a loud crash, and Khufu is barking as we figure out that we have to defeat Set, the god of evil.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's a lot to put on your teenaged and preteen children.
It's been a really hard, 24 hours. Yeah, they need to calm
Sure
down.
has.
They just need to watch some TV,
Yeah, they deserve it.
As one does.
Head empty, nothing. Watch some
It's
Once
okay.
Upon a Time, be like, what is this shit?
Is that your plug?
Good.
No.
No, you have to tell us about your
Never.
mystery book.
I will.
You want to tell the people about you on the internet? You do a podcast where you talk about books, right?
Yes, please
Several
come.
podcasts.
Please
but only
come
find
on
one of them.
my podcast, Burn Before Reading, where we roast the writing we did when we were in high school and talk about other cringy literary topics. Yes, that's my podcast.
Raye was on there talking about
It's a good one.
Homestuck.
Oh
It
yeah,
was great.
They let
Yeah.
me rant about Homestuck for so long.
And Charlie came on to talk about Claire the Nerd.
Yeah, that sure was a thing that I wrote. Maybe I think someday I'll have to write a sequel where they just fall in love, and that's just how it ends up.
And then 10 years
Good
after
for
that,
you.
you can bring it on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your plug? Tell us
Oh,
about your
my
media.
Yeah. Hold on, I have to look up the author briefly, but it's very quick to get to. I'm reading The Appeal by Janice Hallett. It's a really interesting mystery novel that Taylor actually got me. Y'all know Taylor. And it is a mystery novel surrounding a theater troupe, and it's told exclusively in emails and text messages, which I find to be extremely interesting because you're reading, it's a cast of 20 characters all emailing each other about this play that they're putting on, so that there's a lot of correspondence, but then shit starts to get fucked up, and so those other subjects are brought into the emails, and you just slowly start to realize who's lying to each other, financial numbers aren't adding up, it's very interesting. So I highly recommend it. Also, if you want to explore Egyptian mythology more, I highly recommend The Master of Djinn by P. Djèlí Clark, which is also a mystery novel, but it's a 20s hard-boiled detective novel starring a very hot butch lady detective in Cairo. It's extremely cool. The vibes are immaculate. So I highly recommend that one as well.
Hey, is
That's
this
wonderful.
A series?
No, it's just the one.
Okay. Well,
But it's great.
I don't know. I found something called A Master of Djinn.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a different thing.
No, I think that's what I said.
Okay. It says it's in a series. It says Dead Djinn Universe.
Well, there is no sequel as of yet.
Okay. Maybe that's it. Interesting. I'm intrigued. Media. I'm rewatching The Dragon Prince because a new season
So
came
is
out
Mary
recently.
Clay.
And I'm like, wow, I don't remember what it happened in season 5 at all. I barely remembered season 4 actually, but season 6 came out, so I needed to rewatch all of it to understand what the hell is going on. It's I'm pretty sure I've recommended it on the show before, but it's made by one of the writers of Avatar. So it's got a very similar vibe. All of the seasons are books because there's 7 different types of magic, so they're all named after the different types of magic in the world. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wearing its influences on its sleeve there.
Literally, in episode 1, one of the characters is reading a book that is called Love Amongst the Dragons, which is a play in the Avatar universe
lovely.
referenced
Oh,
by
that's very
Zuko.
that's funny. That's I was reading another I guess I've been reading a lot of mysteries lately, but it's by Ruth Ware, who's a pretty famous mystery writer, and she in her book is well, in this lady, I could see that she was reading The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, and I was like, Ruth,
Oh, Ruth.
you're in world characters reading your books.
Okay, I rewatched Wreck-It Ralph recently. Now I'm
Oh,
obsessed with
yeah.
that.
That movie
I
is
love
so
that
great.
fucking movie.
I love
but
that
just
for you.
recommending Wreck-It Ralph is kind of lame because everyone's
No,
seen
it's
that.
not.
I mean, if you haven't, watch it. But so there's a little video essay that came out just came out. So it was super lucky for me because it was right in the middle of my hyperfixation. It's Disney's Greatest Modern Villain, a Turbo/King Candy analysis by Randomalistic on YouTube.
Oh my god.
And it's not like the greatest analysis I've ever seen in my life, but it was a really fun watch. Just like 2 hours of like having fun and thinking about Wreck-It Ralph. So
hell yeah. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with like the grumpy, gentle giant, chaotic tiny girl combo.
yes,
Like,
it's
there's
so
a lot-
good.
There's a lot of duos like that out there in like TV, books, and movies, and I think it's excellent.
They're everything. I just like Ralph doesn't quite fit into this, but you know, I love a like Mandalorian archetype, just
Well,
a
that- I
man who falls into
totally-
dadhood.
Yes, totally. He's like, well, why not me?
This is part of the media that is like grumpy older man and small like sunshine child. Like this
Yeah.
is part of this.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying.
I
All right,
think that
that was it. You can release this from this mortal coil now.
why would I do
Because I have to go
Ray
to
has
work.
to go.
that? Fine. I guess I'll release you from this mortal coil. Get the fuck out of my house. Like, guys, there's something. I don't know. Khufu's barking downstairs. We have to go to feed Set. We only
Yeah, we
have
gotta
like
go
so
check
many
that out.
days. I don't know. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
We're gonna be saying that forever.
And have a nice
great.
rest of your summer.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Wow.
Of the Eldest Gods would like to thank its $10 and up patrons. This means you're either in the Savior of Olympus tier or the God Complex tier on our Patreon, patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. Thank you all so much for your support, especially Matt, our God Complex patron.
You can follow this podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send us a message through the Duat to oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about the Riordanverse or whatever else. Our $5 patron tier also gets you access to Against All Odds, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with mythology, no promises. You can check out our merch store on Redbubble to find custom designs made by Charlie. Or if you cannot or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. If you want to hear more from me, Ray, check out Barbie Movie Slap, a podcast where my co-host Ted and I discuss Barbie's cinematic universe. That podcast Twitter is at Barbie Slaps.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws. You can also hear my voice on 2 other podcasts. I co-host another podcast on the network with the meme maker Robert called The Bits, where we talk about the Cartoon Network show Steven Universe. I also co-host a non-network podcast with my buddy Ethan called Mysteries in the Machine, where we talk about all things Scooby-Doo. Our music was created and produced by Isabel Strauss-Riggs. You can find Isabel at Kann, that's I is in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. She also currently makes video essays on the YouTube channel, Kann. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
Of the Eldest Gods is based on a series by Rick Riordan. Right now we are discussing the Kann Chronicles. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday.
I'm Christina Kann.
And I'm Leela Hilton,
And this is Burn Before Reading.
the podcast about shiterature.
We're here to examine the terrible writing we did when we were younger.
Like that school project you were really proud of.
Or that poem you wrote when you got dumped.
Well, how about that apology letter you wrote to your mom when you got into that fight?
Or the song you recorded before you knew how to write music.
Okay, don't at me. And we're here to talk about other cringy literary topics along the way.
Like the Library of Alexandria.
And Dewey Decimal.
His name was Melville Dewey.
Oh, well, do we want to get the clips rolling?
I don't think I ever recovered from this in terms of being cool.
Why did I say any of this?
I do like the drama.
So there is actually quite a bit to unpack here.
Oh, all this drama was so addictive as a teenager.
There's no punctuation to it. I'll start with that.
I actually have no memory of this.
There were so many lies that I was telling it.
It's not terrible.
No one really taught me how to write a good short story.
That was a journey.
Listen to Burn Before Reading
Every Wednesday, wherever pods are cast. My printer is making weird noises unprompted, so that's why I'm looking at
You
weird
are
things
good. I
out of
can't hear
camera.
it, but if you've got to do something with it, you can go ahead.
I don't think I have to, but in the very, very background, I might be like, boo-doo.
Very
Yeah, my
interesting.
phone went off a little bit ago because I forgot to silence it, so you're not the
My
only one.
landline went off in the background at one
Whoa.
point. Don't
Jump
worry about
scare.
it.
Wow. There's a lot going on here on this episode.
Dave X Media.